All right, today we're going to tackle one of the most essential and honestly, one of the most empowering car maintenance jobs you can do all by yourself, changing your own oil. Trust me, it is way easier than you think. So let's get right into it. So, is your car secretly costing you thousands? Well, it just might be. Think about it. Deferred maintenance is kind of like a phantom thief, you know? It's silently draining your wallet. These simple tasks, when you ignore them, they can lead to some catastrophic and super expensive failures down the line. And the most common one? The simple oil change. Today, we're going to stop that thief dead in its tracks. And this really breaks it all down, doesn't it? When you go to a quick lube shop, you're often getting, let's be honest, pretty cheap oil and a bargain bin filter. But when you do it yourself, you control everything. You get to use that premium synthetic oil, a top-notch filter, you know for a fact the job is done right, and you save money. I mean, it's a win-win-win. Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with why this is so incredibly important. Then we'll gather up our tools. After that, I'll walk you step by step through draining the old oil, swapping out the filter, adding the new stuff, and then finishing up with those crucial final checks. So let's start with the why. This is what I call the proactive payoff. We're going to see why this simple 30-minute job is one of the best investments you can possibly make for your car's long-term health. You know, this analogy just nails it. Your engine works so incredibly hard, and that old, dirty oil, it's like tired blood. By flushing it out and putting in fresh, high-quality oil, you're making sure every single moving part is perfectly lubricated and kept clean. You're literally preventing expensive wear and tear. Convinced? I thought so. Great. Now for the fun part. Let's gather up our toolkit. We want to make sure we have everything we need before we get our hands dirty. So here are the essentials. You'll need a basic socket set, an oil filter wrench, a dream pan, and a funnel. Oh, and gloves and paper towels are an absolute must for cleanup. And to get under the car, you'll need either a jack and some jack stands or a good set of ramps. And trust me on this one, that optional breaker bar, it can be a total lifesaver for a stubborn drain plug. And that is the absolute key takeaway right here. You don't need some professional mechanic's garage full of thousands of dollars of equipment. This job is totally doable with common hand tools that you might already have or can get really easily. No expensive specialized gear needed at all. Okay, before we actually buy our oil, we need to understand just one word, viscosity. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It's simply how thick or thin an oil is. So when you see those numbers on a bottle like 0W20, that's just talking about its viscosity at different temperatures. And finding the right parts, it's incredibly simple. Just grab your owner's manual. It'll tell you the exact oil viscosity your car needs and even how many quarts to buy. Then, when you get to the auto parts store, they'll have these big reference books where you can look up your car and find the precise part number for the oil filter. Easy. All right. We've got our tools, we've got our parts. It's time to get to work. First step, draining all that old, worn-out oil. But hold on, before that car goes up even an inch, safety is everything. Make absolutely sure your car is in park, the emergency brake is pulled up as far as it can go, and you've put wheel chocks behind the rear wheels. We don't want any chance of it rolling. Now, I need you to pay really close attention to this, because this is the single most important rule of working under your car. A hydraulic jack can fail. I'm going to say it again. It can and sometimes will fail. So you must always secure the vehicle with heavy-duty jack stands on a solid part of the frame before you even think about getting underneath. There are 0 exceptions to this rule. Ever. Okay, once you're safely under the car, look for the black oil pan and the drain plug. It's usually pretty obvious. Slide your catch pan right underneath it, and then use your ratchet to turn that plug counterclockwise, lefty-loosey. Once it's loose, you can just unscrew it the rest of the way by hand. Let it drain out completely, then replace that little gasket on the plug and tighten it back up until it's just snug. Don't go crazy here. Over-tightening is a really bad idea. With the old oil drained out, it's time for the second major part of the job, swapping out that old, dirty filter. Now this slide has a couple of huge pro tips. First, after you unscrew the old filter, dip your finger in some of the new oil and just rub it on the rubber gasket of the new filter. This little step makes sure you get a perfect seal. Second, pre-fill that new filter with a bit of fresh oil. This helps prevent the engine from running dry for a few seconds on that first startup. And finally, and this is super important, screw the new filter on by hand only. Just get it on there nice and snug. We are on the home stretch. This is it. Step 3, let's safely lower the car and add that new lifeblood right back into the engine. Okay, with the car back on level ground, find the oil fill cap on top of your engine. It almost always has a little oil can symbol on it. Before you open it, wipe away any dirt or grime from around the cap. We don't want any of that falling in. Then, stick your funnel in and pour in the exact amount of new oil that your owner's manual calls for. And here is a brilliant little trick that'll make you feel like a pro. Turn the oil jug sideways when you pour. This lets air get into the container smoothly, which stops that glug-glug splashing and gives you a much cleaner, more controlled pour. It works every time. But wait, we are not done just yet. These final checks and the cleanup, this is what separates a good job from a great one. You've got to make sure everything is 100% correct. Go ahead and start the engine for about 30 seconds. This circulates the new oil. You want to see that oil pressure light on your dashboard turn off right away. Then shut it off and just wait about 5 minutes for the oil to settle back down into the pan. Now, pull out the dipstick, wipe it totally clean, push it all the way back in, and pull it out one last time. The oil levels should be sitting perfectly right there between the low and high marks. We've done the job, the car's happy, but there is one last really important question we have to answer. What in the world do we do with several quarts of used engine oil? Well, thankfully, doing the right thing here is super easy, and it's almost always free. Just pour the old oil from your drain pan into a sealed container. The empty bottles from the new oil work perfectly. From there, you can take it to just about any auto parts store, a local garage, or your town's recycling center. They'll take it off your hands to be recycled responsibly. And there you have it. You did it. You just took control, you saved yourself some money, and you seriously extended the life of your vehicle. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other simple maintenance tasks are out there, just waiting for you to master them? What other phantom thieves can you stop before they even get started?